Hey everybody, Ryan Medore here, and welcome back to another bass lesson. Today we are going to expand our blues repertoire, and in fact our funky blues repertoire, by talking a little bit about the song Get Out of My Life Woman. So this was originally written by Alan Toussaint. It's a classic tune that Lee Dorsey has done, Freddie King, Derek Trucks, so many different people, very much a standard, but we're going to focus on the Jerry Garcia band version and a great bass player, John Kahn, who had played on this track. So to get into it, we're going to talk about the basic theory of it and how to play this bass line, a little technique stuff as well. And if you want to get tab or notation, backing tracks, anything like that for this lesson, please head over to my Patreon page. You can support there and get all of these things. So let's dig into the song a little bit and talk a little about the music behind it. So this is going to be a funky 12-bar blues, and we're going to kind of follow the main gist of any 12-bar blues, but with one fun thing, a substitution of chords in our turnaround. So instead of doing a traditional 5/4 turnaround like we have in a lot of blues, we're going to have a flat 7/4 turnaround. So we'll get into that in a minute. But first we're going to talk a little bit about the pattern that we can play and like how we can create a funky blues bass line that you can use for this song, and then also as an idea for creating your own bass line for other funky blues tunes. So we're also going to be working in the key of C, which is a great place to be playing a funky blues, especially because we can play a pattern that's in C, and then when we go to our 4th chord F, we can take advantage of some open string motions. So for any of you out there that are maybe a little hesitant about playing the open strings, this is a great exercise to practice getting more comfortable with that. So let's talk about this bass line and the main core of what it is. So I'm going to find my C on the 3rd fret of my A string, right over here. And I'm going to orient myself first by just playing a C7 chord, which is basically a major triad at the core, root, 3rd, 5th. I'm going to add the 7th, which is going to be a flat 7 in this case, and then I'm going to throw the octave on top. So this is me outlining a C7 chord or a C dominant chord that the guitar player might play. So if you see, lyric sheets with chords written on top and you see C7, this is what we could play on bass to arpeggiate that chord. The root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7, and then I'm going to throw the octave on top. Now, most funky blues bass lines also will include the major 6th. It's a note that sounds really consonant. It sounds like something you would have in kind of a blues shuffle. So if you did something like this, that's more of like a walking feel, but I'm using basically the same exact notes, the root, the 3rd, and the 5th to outline the triad, the major 6th, which sounds really nice, and then the flat 7th, which is the 7th of our dominant chord. So again, to go over those notes, we have the root, 3rd, 5th, here's our 6th, 7th, and then we're going to throw the octave on top. So with this bass line, the way we start it is we're going to play up the triad, hit the octave, and then kind of use the other notes, the 7th and the 6th, to walk down. And I threw in a funky little note there, but I'm going to show you what that is in just a second. So as I'm playing up the bass line, I'm playing the root twice, the 3rd and the 5th to the octave, and then I'm playing the flat 7th twice, the 6th, the 5th, and then I'm going to use my major 3rd to get down, but I'm going to do a little funky slide, a little minor to major 3rd. And this is a cool thing. It adds that like cool, funky, dissonant thing that works that, one of the things that's really cool with blues is sometimes we can have major and minor 3rds living together in harmony over a dominant chord. So that little just slide between the E flat to the E is going to add a little bit of stank. It's not something that you have to do, but it's something that you can do to add some fun to your bass line. And you can't spell funk without the word fun, so that's a good one to throw in there. There is that little slide. I'm using my index finger to get that slide before hitting the root again. So nice and slow, root twice, 3rd, 5th octave, 7th, which I'll hit twice, the 6th, 5th, minor third to major third, slide back to the root. So that was that bass line played 4 times, as we would normally do at the beginning of a 12-bar blues, playing 4 times over the 1 chord. And now we're going to take that line, we're going to move it over to F. So this is going to be our 4 chord, and we can't move it to this F because we would very quickly run out of strings. So we're going to take it down and find our F on the 1st fret. And to play this, we get to use our open strings, because when we're playing something that's major and F, we can use the open A string as the major third. So if we build our triad, we can go F, A, C, using that A as our open string. And then we can also use the open D string for scale degree 6. So when we play this bass line, we can go the F, the A is going to be our major third, the 5th is C, we're going to hit the octave F on the 3rd fret of our D string, and then as we come down, we can go 1st fret, open string, that's going to be our flat 7 to 6 move. The C is the 5th again, and we're just going to play that major third over the F chord. We're not going to do a slidey kind of thing because, again, we don't really have that, but we do have the advantage of the open string here. So that's how we can play that bass line over the F chord. So again, learning how to take advantage of our open strings and then seeing patterns that we can play in a fretted position like C, translate it to F, the open string position. So as we're playing a 12-bar blues, we're going to play that sequence twice over the F chord. And I like to kind of take advantage of that moment that we play the open A at the end of the phrase to switch my position back to the C. So you'll see as I play through this, that taking advantage of the open A string really lets me then shift my hand from down being in this first position to coming over here and orienting around my 3rd fret again. Now we get to our turnaround. So think about being at bar 9 of our 12-bar blues, and instead of a 5/4 turnaround that would go G to F like we would normally have in a blues, we're going to substitute that 5 chord for our flat 7. So that's going to be our B flat. And you can kind of improvise your way through this chord, but a good rule of thumb is to take advantage of the triad and also kind of just transposing the bass line that we've already been playing, but to the B flat. But for now, I'm just going to play a little bit more of a simple part over that B flat and do a bar of B flat to a bar of F, and then finally return to C and go back to the initial groove. So it'll sound a little bit like this. If I go from the C chord, which is around, bar 7 of our 12-bar blues, we'll have 2 bars of C. Here comes the B flat. Here's the F. And back to C. And that'll take us through the 12-bar blues. So again, like I said, you can kind of improvise your way through there, or craft a couple different types of lines over that B flat to F change. And you'll hear that bass players will very often do this when we're only there for like 1 chord or 1 bar per chord at this transitional part of the song. And it's just a way for you to like get a little creative. Again, we can take advantage of our open strings and we can kind of play down from that F chord, use the open A string to move back to C, and then find ourselves back in that original position. So if we were to play the whole bass line, all 12 bars, we'll go through it right now. And again, if you want to get tab or notation, anything like that for this lesson, head over to my Patreon page and you'll be able to find it. But here's how it'll sound all together. Let's go through it. We've got 4 bars on the C. Take it to F. Back to the C. B flat. F. Back to C. And And there it is. And you could hear that I did like a little bit of variation there. That's totally cool. Again, this is a funky blues. We're allowed to express ourselves a little bit. We can throw in some chromatic motion. We can do other things, but this is a great framework for really any kind of funky blues. So you can move this to other keys, play it with other songs, and it gets to be something that you can really use to create fun, creative, funky blues bass lines. So I hope you dug this lesson. Again, head over to my Patreon page to support, get tab, notation, backing tracks, all the good stuff, and happy practicing, everybody. Keep it groovy.